One of the things that I try and get people to understand is that bits don't train horses, trainers train horses. The lack of understanding of bits and how they function and how they operate is what gets most people and most horses in trouble. You know, I'm going to tell a little story here right now about years ago. My mama come up to me somewhere. I don't remember exactly where we were, but she come up and she said, "Do you have any complaints about the way that I raised you?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am, I got a big one." Well, that kind of took her by surprise, and she didn't say anything. She just turned around and walked off. Well, about 30 minutes later, she finally walked back and said, "Okay, I'm ready to hear it." Well, I looked at her and I said, "Mother," said, "you always taught us to treat people the way that we'd like to be treated." She got a big smile on her face and said, "Yeah." I said, "You didn't teach us what to do when they didn't." I said, "You sent me out into the world with half of an education." So understand that I'm not a fan of Bitless because, you know, the greatest majority of these associations where you may go and do something or where you're going out with a horse or what have you, they're going to require that the horse have knowledge of the bit. Well, you know, I could solve most of the world's problems by just going up and taking the bridle and taking it off of the horse and what have you, because what I'm doing is taking your hands out of this horse's mouth. And but that's not going to solve anything. Yeah, it's going to make everybody think I'm the greatest thing on the face of this earth, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to teach you about this, and I'm here to teach you about this set of reins and how they work. And I'm here to teach you how to get into this horse's mouth without doing damage to this mind up here. Because that's what happens so much with this horse most of the time, is people get up there and they do a bunch of damage to this mind. And then all of a sudden they're dealing with a horse that has got a reputation that a human established that nobody can ride, nobody can do anything with. In fact, I'm fixing to post a video of a horse up in Ohio that they gave her to the man that owned her because they couldn't use her in their lesson program. You know, they couldn't use her anymore because this mare had learned how to protect herself, that, you know, she'd just throw movement at them. And when people would get up there and get to trying to jerk and snatch and pull and that kind of stuff, no ma'am. All right, I'm gonna let you. You know, anyway, they'd jerk and snatch and pull and what have you, and she'd just keep going. This so-called trainer they had up there called her, "Oh, she's a hard-mouth, most hard-mouth thing I've ever heard of." Well, there's not such a thing as a hard-mouthed horse. There's a horse that's learned not to pay attention, and the horse that has learned that, hey, if I give you what you're asking for, this world's probably not going to change anyhow. You're still going to be up there jerking and snatching and pulling on me. Instead of learning how this thing really works. Now, so anyway, what I was getting at with that story about my mother is that a lot of times when people will tell me, "Oh, I just ride my horse bridleless," or what have you, well, then I normally tell them, "So, well, you know, I hope you own him for the rest of his life. So that, you know, he don't have to go out in the real world where he's not educated in how to deal with that." And so, you know, We're about the only people on the face of this earth that'll put a bridle on something, throw a human in the middle of his back, tell them to hand them a set of reins, and then sit there and yell at them, hey, get out of that horse's mouth. You know, get real. If I have learned absolutely nothing else on the face of this earth, that the instant you put a set of reins in somebody's hands, they're going to use them. Whether they know how, whether or not anybody spent time teaching them how this set of reins work, how the communication system works, when I start spreading my hands and rolling my hands over, this horse automatically gives to the bit, not because I'm sitting up there doing this or seesawing on this horse, you know. It's because I've given her the opportunity to understand, pick that left foot up and set it back, pick that right foot up and set it back, now the left. You know, because once I pick one foot up, if I pick this left foot up and set it back, I'm pretty certain the next one would be her right foot. So when you start really learning how this bit works and how to operate it, boy, you and this horse can learn to get along with each other. Now, that's why when people come to me wanting to learn or have got an issue or what have you, you know, they're going to earn the right to pick up a set of reins before they ever get that set of reins put in their hands. You know, I mean, just be sensible. It's kind of like driving the car. You know, when I got old enough to drive the car, my parents didn't just walk up there and throw me the keys. You know, so, but we'll do that to this horse. We'll put somebody in the middle of their back and put a set of reins in their hands, and then we start creating people that can't operate this animal with nothing but their hands. You know. Anyway, I'm fixing to get off of my high horse a little bit, and me and this girl's fixing to ride down here to the into the other pasture.